The marvelous and magnificent beauty of the Valley of Kashmir, cradled in the Himalayas, gratifies all senses with thrilling experiences. Its salubrious climate, its bewitching, quite idyllic scenery, its arresting landscape, its snow-clad mountains, its gushing rivulets, its remarkably exquisite dawns and daybreaks, and equally enjoyable dusky evenings. Its ancient and mysterious, all-encompassing woods and evergreen forests. Its gorgeously colorful meadows, its wobbling birds, its tranquil and placid blue lakes, its bubbling springs, its sprawling orchards. The bountiful land of Kashmir has been the chosen land of not only the seeds and sages, but the gods as well, since ages. But alas, this beautiful land of Kashmir, once known as the paradise on earth, and its aboriginal inhabitants had to withstand humiliation, repression, persecution, torture, physical and mental agony at the hands of some Islamic fundamentalists time and again since long. One such occasion that marked and saw many acts of barbarism committed against Hindus in the valley was 13th July 1931, the Black Day, the Bataloot Day, when the series of events that day included clearly looked like pre-planned rioting and mayhem, in which Hindus were targeted. Hindu traders of Maharajganj in Srinagar were attacked, and all Hindu shops from Borikadal to Alikadal were raided. Vicharnag, situated 5 miles from Srinagar and inhabited by the minority community, reportedly saw bloodshed and riots, barbarism, and alleged rapes of Kashmiri Pandit women. What July 13, 1931 did was to bring to a halt the gradual process of democratization that had been planned and initiated by a just monarch, Maharaja Hari Singh, keeping in mind the changing times. It became a blot in the history of the state because it saw the use of religion and religious spaces for sedition, instigating riots, and sowing the seeds of hatred between communities and regions. July 13, 1931 changed the state forever and is thus a black day in the history of Kashmir. Marking it as Martyrs' Day, while ignoring its complete truth and declaring it as a state holiday, upholds a certain behavior which has only spelled trouble for Kashmir and the rest of the state. The day was about violent protests which had a clear communal and regional angle. It saw the use of religious spaces to make political and seditious speeches. Both Sheikh Abdullah and the non-state planted agent apparently gave seditious speeches and called for mutiny from the precincts of a mosque. The day saw frenzied crowds pelting stones and attacking military and police pickets, snatching firearms from the police personnel and indulging in arson and loot of public property. But the good thing is that the so-called Martyrs' Day holiday was cancelled by the state government, which was an acknowledgement by the state government for the non-recognition of 13th July as a Martyrs' Day. Martyrs' Day is a glaring example of the half-truths and one-sided stories the popular narrative of Jammu and Kashmir rests on. It's the absolute wrong narrative that has been going out for generations together. This is a clear indication of which way the cookie crumbles. The religious and ethnic minorities of the state have been purposely stripped of their sense of identity, history, and legacy. In fact, the war on terror in Jammu and Kashmir has always been critical, and so has been the battle of narratives. Namaskar to all the viewers and our young team of participants. I, Deepti Tikku, on behalf of Jammu Kashmir Vichar Manch, would like to bring to your notice that Jammu Kashmir Vichar Manch, a socio-cultural organization, has been doing a remarkable job in binding the community and especially its youth with its roots, its culture. Through many events and programs like Gashtaruk, Mahashivratri Utsav, Navre Utsav, etc. Today, it is the first attempt of Jammu Kashmir Vichar Manch team to bring its youth close to the history of Kashmir, their motherland, through this event. I feel privileged to moderate today's talk show in which our young participants will shed some light on the mass murders, the sufferings, the genocide, the ethnic cleansing, the miseries, the atrocities that have been inflicted on Kashmiri Hindus for centuries together. So let's welcome our first speaker for the evening, the lively Shreya Wali, a first-year student from Faridabad. Over to you, Shreya.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you're very much audible. Please go ahead.
Namaskar, Mara. My name is Shreya Wali, and I'm a Kashmiri Pandit. And today I'll be talking about the very first exodus that happened with the Kashmiri Pandits, and even I'll be talking about how the second exodus initially started. So 1389 to 1413 was a period when the very first exodus took place. Shah Mir became the founder of Muslim rule in Kashmir. He, by fraud, got Kota Rani, Bhatta Bhikshana, and Prata Autar murdered just to remove the forces of resistance from his way and to let Islam set its roots deep in the soil of Kashmir. So Jauddin Taimur, Mir Sayyid Ali Hamdani, they came to Kashmir along with 700 Sayyids and drove a wide and deep wedge between the majority Hindus and minority Muslims. Ill treatment and torture of the Kashmiri Pandits was made a state policy. And it was even officialized that the Kashmiri Pandits will be ill-treated and they will be killed unless they accept Islam. With these repressive and precautionary measures backed by state terrorism, they were able to achieve the conversion of 37,000 Kashmiri Pandits to Islam. Sayyids, headed by Mir Ali Hamdani, openly preached extermination of Hindu religion and Hindu politics from the soil of Kashmir in order to flourish their culture of Islam. Sikandar enjoyed and relished in breaking down the images of Hindu gods. He even burned 7 mounds of sacred thread of the murdered Brahmins, and even their sacred books were thrown into the Dal Lake. More than 1 lakh Kashmiri Pandits were drowned in the lake and were burnt on the spot in the vicinity of Renavari in Srinagar. Numerous Hindus fled, numerous were converted, and numerous were brutally killed. Can you even think? Many even poisoned themselves. According to the living memory of the Kashmiri Pandits, only 11 Kashmiri Pandit families stayed back in the valley. The rest, rather than abandoning the religion of their fathers, chose to migrate, leaving behind their home, their homeland, and everything only to protect their religion and faith. Crowds of Hindus ran away in different directions. Their social life was totally disrupted. They were getting looted, they were kidnapped, and do you even know how many women were raped? This marks the very first ominous exodus of the Kashmiri Pandits from their native home. Now, I will be talking about 1506 to 1585. This was a period when the second exodus took place. This was a period when the torture came to this extent that the Kashmiri Pandits had to pay taxes even for performing their religious rites, rituals, and customs. Chucks came to Kashmir from Gilgit Hunza region. Like all the other Muslim rulers, Chucks also adopted their policy of conversion by coercion, loot of Kashmiri Pandits, who as a result of continued religious persecution became lesser in number. Firstly, when Fateh Khan proclaimed himself as a ruler, the situation in the valley became very depressing. Then came Musa Raina. During his rule, the places where Hindus used to worship, the places were completely demolished. And the people who opposed were brutally killed. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya, for acquainting our viewers with the truth of first and second exoduses of Kashmiri Hindus. Our next speaker for the evening is the subdued Upasna Pandita, again a first-year student from Ghaziabad. Let's see what she has in store for us. Welcome to the show, Upasna. Please go ahead.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you're very much audible.
So, Namaskar Mara Sarni. We all know that 13th July is also known as Black Day or But Loot Day. While Kashmiri Muslims refer it as Martyrs Day, but it is actually not. It is one of the day which pours salt on the wounds of Kashmiri Pandit community, which suffered untold atrocities at the hands of radical Muslims. 13th July is actually not the only day which depicts the sufferings of Kashmiri Pandits. Even centuries are less to describe how much torture did the Kashmiri Pandits faced. The Kashmiri Pandit community had faced 7 exoduses from centuries. But because we are having a time limit, so I will be emphasizing on the second and the third exodus. During the second exodus of Kashmiri Pandits, under the rule of Chucks, Kashmiri Pandits were snubbed, persecuted, humiliated, and trampled mercilessly. They had to pay tax even for performing their religious rites. The Chucks ordered that 1,000 cows be slaughtered every day to shock Kashmiri Hindus into accepting Islam. They also reimposed jizya on Hindus. The Kashmiri Pandits were bound to pay 40 precious stones to the ruler. Chucks were cruel and heartless. The era of Chucks is also known as Black Saga in the history of Kashmiri Pandits, who somehow escaped and fled to other places for their identity. The third exodus of Kashmiri Pandits started from 1585 to 1753 during the Mughal era. Let us first talk about Akbar. Akbar was admittedly tolerant than other Mughal rulers and refrained from falling into the net of fanatic religious zeal, but it was a bait by him because of his own political interest. But he abolished the tax on Kashmiri Pandits, which was imposed by Chucks. So during Akbar's era, Kashmiri Pandits suffered less atrocities when compared to the time period of other Mughal rulers. The actual ruins of Kashmiri Pandit community in Mughal era started when Akbar's son Jahangir became an emperor. He made a departure from the path of religious tolerance and non-intolerance in other religions. It was during his time the Kashmiri Pandits were forced to marry their daughters to Mughal officers and Subedars, and yet it is an irony that Jahangir is known for love and concern for justice. He did not lag behind in following the footprints of earlier Muslim fanatics. It was during his time when the flight of steps linking the temple of Shankaracharya to the river Vitasta near the temple of Tripur Sundari was dismantled. Then comes the son of Jahangir, Shah Jahan. He devoted himself fully in torturing and persecuting the Kashmiri Hindus. He discredited and demolished a number of temples in Kashmir Valley. He got many mosques constructed, but hardly cared to reconstruct temples, monasteries, and libraries of Hindus demolished and destroyed by the Islamic zealots preceding him. After him came Aurangzeb. As we all know that Aurangzeb was a ruthless ruler and converted many Hindus forcefully by harassing them all over the subcontinent. Since Kashmir has from time immemorial remained a prominent center for learning, Aurangzeb appointed 14 atrocious Subedars as administrators and governors of Kashmir for its Islamization. In consequence of this threat, thousands of Kashmiri Pandits succumbed to his threatening policy and converted to Islam. Thousands who could manage to withstand the pressure left their homes and sought refuge in neighboring regions to keep themselves and their faith alive. This is not the end. After Mughal era, there are 4 more exoduses faced by Kashmiri Pandits. Now it is 2021 and it is the need of the hour that we Shaivite Saraswat Brahmins deserve justice, and I am sure that we will. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, Upasna, for disclosing a wide range of facts about the third post-displacement of Kashmiri Pandits. Our next young speaker is the jubilant Pranvi Pandita, an 8th class student from Gurugram. We welcome you to the show, Pranvi. Please come up with your viewpoints.
Thank you, ma'am. Namaskar. I am Pranvi Pandita, a Kashmiri Pandit, and I would like to talk about the fourth forced displacement of Kashmiri Pandits. Aurangzeb, the Puritan king, whose life is a sharp contrast to that of his predecessors, lost no time after ascending the throne to convert whole of India to Islam. To fulfill this desire of his, the fundamentalist emperor had no hesitation in using sword. According to him, elimination of Hindu scholars was a prerequisite for the spread of Islam in India. The fourth forced displacement of Kashmiri Pandits took place during the period of this cruel king. During his bigoted, fanatic, and dogmatic approach, the Kashmiri Pandits were once again made vulnerable. The Mughal governor of Kashmir during the reign of Aurangzeb brutally tortured the Brahmins to such an extent that they approached Guru Tegh Bahadur, the 9th Sikh Guru, at Anandpur Sahib in Punjab and solicited his personal intervention with the emperor. This ultimately led to the Guru's martyrdom and made Guru Gobind Singh to create the Khalsa to fight the oppressors. The cruel governor Aurangzeb of Kashmir ferociously terrorized the Kashmiri Pandits. These celebrated scapegoats were once again forced to migrate from their land of origin. Since Kashmir has, from times immemorial, remained a prominent center for learning, Aurangzeb appointed 14 atrocious Subedars as administrators and governors of Kashmir for its Islamization. Notable among them was Iftikhar Khan, who during his regime unleashed his pack of hounds of cruelties of all sorts to leave the Kashmiri Hindus with no alternative but to embrace Islam or the pain of death. During his rule of 5 years of raising cruelty, the tyrant Khan made it clear to the Pandits that their future in their land of birth was assured only if they kissed Islam, else they must quit their homeland or die. No other option. In consequence of this dire threat, thousands of Kashmiri Pandits accepted this policy and thus got converted to Islam. Thousands who could manage to withstand the tremendous pressure paid goodbye to their homes and motherland, seeking refuge in neighboring regions to keep alive themselves and their faith that was so dear to them. The hope stands strong to this day. It was the fourth disastrous mass exodus of the Kashmiri Brahmins from Kashmir, the land of Kashyap. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranvi, for familiarizing our viewers about the fourth exodus. Today's next speaker is a 9th class student from Jammu, the enthusiastic Kamakshi Rana. Welcome to the show, Kamakshi. Please carry on.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please continue.
So, Namaskar Mara. I'm Kamakshi Rana, a Kashmiri Pandit. Today, I would like to say a word or two
I'm sorry,
about.
Kamakshi. I'm sorry to intervene. I suppose I was not audible earlier, was I?
Yeah, you
You
were.
were audible. It is okay. Everything is okay.
All right. Please go ahead, Kamakshi.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Namaskar Mara. I'm Kamakshi Rana, a Kashmiri Pandit. Today, I would like to say a word or two about 13 July 1931. Some days have great historical importance. 13 July is one such day which marks occurrence of events which led it to be observed as Black Day by the Kashmiri Pandits. In the year 1931, on this day in Srinagar and after that for many months in various places of Kashmir, first ever organized communal carnage in the recorded history took place. A lot of people were murdered, burnt alive, thrown into the river, molested, raped, and even forcibly converted to Islam. What it did was to bring to a halt the gradual process of democratization that had been planned and initiated by Maharaja Hari Singh. Keeping in mind changing times, it became a instigating riots and sowing seeds of hatred between communities and religions, which had coexisted harmoniously for almost a century. This day also saw pre planned communal riots and eventually led to the unfortunate death of 22 rioters who were pelting stones and attempting to break in and enter the central jail in Srinagar as a manner of protest. This day also saw many acts of barbarism committed against Hindus in the valley. The extraordinary part of the story is that almost at the same time with the happenings at Srinagar, there was an uprising at a place with Sarnag 3 to 4 kilometers away. Untold atrocities were committed there. Men owning lakhs were reduced to poverty and women were subjected to the worst possible and most indecent assaults. Such happenings also took place in the other areas of Kashmir Valley. A notion was propagated that it was a democratic uprising to uproot the prevailing feudal order. The fact is that it was an Islamist rebellion against the Hindu king. This day is being observed by the Kashmiri Pandit community as Black Day since 1932 in commemoration of the persecution that was inflicted upon the community on this fateful day in the Kashmir Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamakshi, for bringing out the true picture of 13th July 1931, the dark and gloomy Butterloot Day. Our next speaker for the evening is the bubbly Vidushi Kak, again a 9th class student from Delhi. Welcome on board, Vidushi. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Namaskar, Saini. Today, I, Vidushi Kak, a Kashmiri Pandit girl, will try and shed light on the darkest hour in the history of Jammu and Kashmir. The saga of 1947, tribal invasion on Kashmir, and Operation Gulmarg by Pakistan. On 15th August 1947, India awoke freedom from the yoke of British imperialism, and while the freedom bells were chiming for the majority communities, the unfortunate Kashmiri Pandits were in for a grave surprise and shock, turning the reveling and jubilation of freedom into a melodrama for them. Just approximately 2 months after the partition of India and Pakistan, on a dreadful day of 22nd October 1947, the Pakistan Army regulars and tribal raiders invaded the Kashmir Valley. The Pakistan Army had codenamed its Capture Kashmir mission as Operation Gulmarg, which was placed under Pakistan Army officers. Operation Gulmarg had devised a three-pronged operation. First, hit and run attacks along the border with Jammu Kashmir force. Second, inciting the Muslims to fight the forces and resort to religious cleansing of their non-Muslim neighbors. And finally, thousands of tribal warriors were to cross the frontier and occupy every bridle road and mountain track. By the mid-October, small bands of armed mercenaries had started guerrilla raids on bordering villages. The Pakistan Army helped the tribal invaders to cross the state border on the northern and northwestern side of the princely state. So-called religious zealots of the state, the radical Islamic group of people, acted as guides to these hordes of savages. The stage was set for Pakistan to launch its Operation Gulmarg and invade the Kashmir Valley, with its military mission masquerading as raids by tribal invaders. Trucks carrying approximately 2,000 Pathans drove down the Batrasi hills into Gadi Habibullah, armed with axes and swords. Some had muskets, others just sticks. The tribesmen stormed Muzaffarabad that morning and easily scattered the Kashmir army deployed there. It was the horrifying day when the mass rape at Baramulla eclipsed the province, eclipsed the massacre at Rajouri in Jammu province. Tremendous atrocities on the innocent people, especially the Kashmiri Pandits and Sikhs, were seen. People were tortured and crucified. Invaders abducted thousands of Pandits and Sikh girls. The entire socio-political and religious structure of the Kashmiri Pandit society suffered a subversion. Besides indulging in wholesale loot and arson, they killed numerous Kashmiri Pandits at Batapora, Gushi, Tikkar, and at various places in the district of Baramulla, Badgam, and outskirts of Srinagar. Thousands of Kashmiri Pandits had to flee their homes and hearths and seek refuge in Srinagar. A good number of them left the state for good and never returned back to the valley. The local Muslim zealots joined hands with tribals in forcibly converting thousands of Kashmiri Pandits to Islam on pain of torture and instant death. 2.5 tons of Jinayu urine was burnt in a single day during the conversion. Lot of Hindu temples were vandalized and reduced to ashes. The current generation are a product that was not only a victim to the poisonous narrative and idea of Azadi spread by Pakistan, which destroyed the harmonious nature of the valley. The history of Kashmir and the horrors caused by Pakistan on 22nd October 1947 have been erased from the minds of Kashmiri Muslims that have been used as proxies by Pakistan. However, we, the Kashmiri Pandits, have withstood and despite centuries upon centuries of shame, humiliation, persecution, repression, and torture, we have survived and recovered our glory with our own power of self-preservation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vidushi, for talking about the horrors of 1947 Kabaili attacks. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is the roaring Neel Pandita, a 10th class student from Ghaziabad. We welcome you, Neel. Please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Namaskar. My name is Neel Pandita, and today we all are gathered here to discuss and acknowledge the atrocities that we, the Kashmiri Pandits, have faced over the centuries. Whether it was the age of foreign invaders or the modern democratic times, we have suffered a great deal of damage, and the pain and agony that lives inside our hearts can never be expressed in words. Today's objective is to make the people of India aware about the past and the present circumstances of our community. Me and my fellow participants will be discussing about some of the major events and exoduses of Kashmiri Pandits till date, although any duration of time is insufficient. I will be briefing you all about the 6th exodus of the Kashmiri Pandits. The mastermind behind the planning and the architect of Shah Masjid within the premises of an ancient temple inside the new civil secretariat area at Jammu was Mr. Gul Shah Padshah and his brigade of hoodlums and hooligans, also known as Sirwalas. After he had snatched political power from his estranged brother-in-law, Dr. Farooq Abdullah, Gul Shah held the reins of power as chief minister for a spell of 20 months. His regime was the worst ever in the post-independent history of the state. Every Kashmiri, even every child who had attained age of consciousness then, will testify that Kashmir saw maximum number of curfew days during Shah's misrule. He earned the appellation Gul curfew not unjustifiably and undeservedly. Chaos and confusion held its way all over. Law and order suffered a complete breakdown. Anarchy spread its tentacles in political, socio, and economic area. Corruption was rampant. The valiant people of Jammu did not take Shah's heroic deed lying down. They poured out into the streets. There were demonstrations and protest marches throughout Jammu against this avowedly Islamic act of the CM in a secular state and nation. Shah was not only haughty but also unpredictable and deeply vindictive, accompanied by some of his trusted Muslim officers and bureaucrats like Sheikh Ghulam Rasool, the former chief minister, who could boast of brave exploits of having evicted some of the KPs from EP quarters. Gul Shah entered Srinagar on 20th February 1986 and provoked the Muslims to communalize the situation in Kashmir in view of what had happened in Jammu and deliberately raised the bogie of Islam Khatre mein hai. That means Islam is in danger, and excited and dragged his Lashkar, known as Lashkar-e-Gul Shah Padshah, among the local people into a violent and bloody stance and then directed them towards Kashmiri Pandits for no fault of theirs. At his behest, they went on an unleashed spree of desecrating their temples and places of worship and shrines, torching their cowsheds and molesting their womenfolk. Unfortunately, this was not the last exodus for Kashmiri Pandits. Even after this, the seventh exodus took place that resulted into mass murders, loots, arson, and forced eviction of Kashmiri Pandits from the valley. Since that day, we have been refugees in our own country. Before going, I would like to leave you all with some beautiful lines from a great poet. जिनकी सांसों से हम सांस ले रहे हैं, जिनकी आंखों से हम सब कुछ देख रहे हैं, जिनके लहू का एक एक कतरा खो रहा है, जिनके खून पे ये कश्मीर भी रो रहा है, उन शहीदों की शहादत को नमन है नमन. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Neil, for such wonderful lines at the end. And thank you so much for apprising our viewers with the post-1947 amendments in Jammu and Kashmir. Thanks once again. Now we have with us the vivacious Himanshi Raina, an 11th class student from Delhi. Himanshi Raina, please carry on. Thank you.
Namaskar, I am Himanshi Raina, a 16-year-old Kashmiri Pandit, and I'll be sharing my views on what happened in Kashmir in the early 90s, or as we call it, the 6th Exodus. 31 years since the exodus from the valley of its minority Hindu Kashmiri Pandit community. The hotly contested circumstances of the departure between January and March 1990, the numbers, and the issue of return are an important side to the Kashmir story that has fed into the Hindu-Muslim polarization in India over the years, in turn fueling the Hindu-Muslim chasm in the valley. It was a fateful and bloody period. Tensions had been simmering, but with the perilous decisions taken in February 1986, clashes turned into bloody riots, an occurrence which became distressingly commonplace. The atrocities in Kashmiri Pandits were at peak during that time. In February 1986, Gul Shah, on his return to Kashmir Valley, retaliated and incited the Kashmiri Muslims by saying that Islam is in danger. As a result, Kashmiri Hindus were targeted. Many incidents were reported in various areas where Kashmiri Hindus were killed and their properties and temples were damaged and destroyed. The worst hit areas were mainly in South Kashmir. In Anantnag, Fatehpur, etc., the properties and temples of Hindus were plundered or destroyed. During the Anantnag riot of February 1986, although no Hindu was killed, many houses and other properties belonging to Hindus were looted, burnt, or damaged. An investigation of Anantnag riots reveals that the members of the secular parties in the states, rather than the Islamists, had played a key role in organizing the violence to gain political mileage through religious sentiments. Shah called in the army to curb the violence, but it had a very little effect. The 90s were the reign of terror for Kashmiri Pandit community. Petty acts such as selling meat in Hindu festivals or eating beef, the flesh of an animal that is sacred to Hindus just for the sake of shaming them, were the major highlights of 1986. I think even today, it's safe to say that atrocities in Kashmiri Pandits haven't stopped. Surveys suggest that during that time, over 10,000 Kashmiri Pandits were killed. Women were raped, and no mercy was shown to children as well. And even today, we, Kashmiri Pandits, are struggling to find a way back to our homeland. And I feel like we, as youth, as a community, should do something to seek justice for it. Because if not now, when? And if not us, who? Thank you very much.
Very well said, Himanshi. If not we, then who? Thank you so much for revealing many facts about the sixth exodus of Kashmiri Brahmins. Next on board, we have the reasonable Kartik Bhan, a ninth class student from Vaishali, Ghaziabad. Kartik, please illuminate our viewers with your views. Over to you.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you're very much audible. Please go ahead.
Namaskar. I am Kartik Bhan, a Kashmiri Hindu in exile. My father, Mr. Manoj Bhan, originally from Tulmul, Gandharwal. My mother, Mrs. Kiran Bhan, originally from Badgam district. Today, we are here to discuss what happened 90 years ago. On this date, 13 July, which is observed as a Black Day and called as Batlut Day in the history of Kashmir, I have been assigned the task to express my views and feelings about the seventh exodus of Kashmiri Pandits in 1990. It may sound bitter, but the truth is that since I have been born and brought up in an Aryan land, I don't feel attached to my motherland. I call it motherland because my parents are native to Kashmir, and that's all how I connect to the valley. My parents have a unique connect with Kashmir and everything related to it. In fact, they have set Kashmir as benchmark for everything that happens around. Say, for example, when the temperature soars here in Delhi, I often hear them saying that it used to be such a wonderful weather in Kashmir. And when it's cold here, they will usually say that it was, even though it was much more colder there, but we had all the arrangements in place and it was not so difficult. Comparing and then placing their lost home on top. Funny though, but I am forced to think from their point of view now. The love for their motherland has not faded a bit, even though it's been more than 3 decades now that they are away. I was not ready to accept that a particular peace loving community was made into such a soft target. But once I started my study, there was a paradigm shift in my thoughts. People were, and what shook me the most was the fact that this was not the first time that these harmless people were targeted. But this was just a repetition of what had been happening earlier also. So my community has been enduring exodus after exodus and still surviving. Few aspects come to my mind that I want people from my community to discuss, debate, and conclude with. Why was my community forced to leave its motherland, leaving behind their houses, belongings, farmland, shops, etc.? Was it the responsibility of the then government to provide a safe and amicable atmosphere for our people? Or was it the blunder on part of Hindu minority community to lay trust in the majority community? How could we become into such soft targets again and again? Who is to be blamed? That's a big question mark. Just because we did not resort to arms, is that something that really has been taken advantage of? Even I asked my parents why they left the valley if they love it so much. I got to know that out of the only three choices, leaving their heart and home was the only better choice. Relive, convert, get killed, live, leave Kashmir were the only three choices that Kashmiri Hindus were given in that freezing cold night of 19 January 1990. By then, the Pandits had begun to be targeted. Sri Tikalar Tapluji was assassinated on September 13th. Sri Neelkant Ji, a retired judge who had sentenced Makbul Bhatt but was shot dead outside the J&K court in the J&K High Court in Srinagar. Journalist lawyer Premnath Bhatt was shot dead in Anantnag on December 27. Hit lists of pundits were in circulation. Waves of panic hit the community, especially after a local newspaper published an anonymous message, allegedly from Hizbul Mujahideen, asking pundits to leave and abandon their motherland. Kashmiri Hindus are in exile since early 1990 after Islamic religious fundamentalists in the valley took to armed subversion and terrorism and drove them out of their centuries old habitat. It's been an ethnic genocide. But the $1 million question is, for how much longer will it continue? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karthik, for divulging many facets of 1990s post displacement of the minority community from the Valley of Kashmir. Now, last but not the least, our youngest speaker for the day, for the evening rather, is the vigorous Suhas Reshi from Jammu. Suhas, over to you, beta.
Excuse me, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you're very much audible. Please go ahead.
नमस्कार, मैं सुहास ऋषि आज 1990 में हुए जबरन पलायन के बाद कश्मीरी पंडितों के दर्द और पीड़ा के बारे में बात करूंगा। 14वीं सदी से कश्मीरी पंडित इस्लामी कट्टरपंथियों की साजिशों के कारण जबरन पलायन सहन करते रहे हैं। 13 जुलाई 1931 का दिन भी कश्मीरी पंडितों के इतिहास में एक काले दिन के रूप में जाना जाता है। इस दिन इस्लामिक कट्टरपंथियों ने उस समय के महाराजा के खिलाफ राजनीतिक छल का आयोजन किया और मुख्य रूप से कश्मीरी पंडितों और उनकी संपत्ति को लूटकर अपनी राजनीतिक इच्छाओं को जाहिर किया, जिसे आज भी बट लूट के नाम से जाना जाता है। कट्टरपंथियों ने अपने इन प्रयासों को 1947, 1971, 1986 तक जारी रखा और अंत में 1990 में उन्हीं कट्टरपंथियों की साजिश के तहत कश्मीरी पंडितों को उनकी मातृभूमि और समृद्ध संस्कृति को छोड़ना पड़ा। परिणाम स्वरूप पंडितों को अपने पूर्वजों की ऋषि भूमि अपनी मर्ज कशीर से बाहर शरण लेनी पड़ी। दुर्भाग्य से जनता की रक्षा के लिए जिम्मेदार लोगों ने भी मूक दर्शक बने रहने का विकल्प चुना और भय और अपमान के माहौल में कश्मीरी पंडितों को छोड़ दिया। 1300 से अधिक पंडितों की हत्याएं, समाचार पत्रों के द्वारा दी गई खुली धमकियां, मंदिरों की तोड़फोड़ ने पंडितों को अपना घर, संस्कृति, मातृभूमि, अपनी मर्ज कशी छोड़ने पर मजबूर कर दिया। हर एक पंडित जो उस काले साए में घर से निकला था, उसे यही आशा थी कि ये पलायन 30 दिनों से अधिक लंबा नहीं होगा, परंतु 31 वर्ष बीत चुके हैं और घर वापसी एक जीवित सपना बनकर रह गया है। कश्मीरी पंडितों की भयावह दुर्दशा तो 1990 के बाद शुरू हुई। मेरा पालन पोषण अपने दादा दादी की देखरेख में हुआ, जो मुझे हर रोज कश्मीर में उनके जीवन की खूबसूरत कहानियां सुनाते रहे। मुझे शायद एक भी ऐसा दिन याद नहीं जब मेरे दादाजी द्वारा पलायन के बाद सही गई परेशानियों को बयान करते हुए उनकी आंखें नम ना हुई हो। वे मुझे बताते थे कि कैसे 6 लोगों का उनका परिवार एक ट्रक में तरपाल के नीचे छिपकर 7 मई 1990 को उस काली अंधेरी रात में शालामार जम्मू के शिव मंदिर में उतरा था। वो कभी भी वो दिन नहीं भूले जब मेरी दादी रेशम और टेरिकॉट के कपड़ों में जम्मू की भीषण गर्मी में शिव मंदिर में खुले आसमान के नीचे स्टोव पर खाना बनाते हुए उनका चेहरा लाल ना हो गया हो। अपने जीवन की सारी कमाई से कश्मीर में अपने हाथों से बनाए घर के पहले लूट और उसके बाद जलने की याद से उनके आंसू आंखों का साथ छोड़ गालों पर आ बैठे थे। स्वर्गवास होने से कुछ दिन पहले उन्होंने मेरे पिता से उन्हें अपने घर कश्मीर ले जाने के लिए कहा। जम्मू में बनाए गए मकान में 30 साल बिताने के बाद भी वो मकान मेरे दादू के लिए घर नहीं बन पाया। मैं ये भी जानता हूँ कि हम में से हर एक के पास ऐसी ही कई दर्दनाक कहानियां होगी। बच्चों की शिक्षा, वृद्धों की देखभाल और भविष्य की चुनौती का सामना करने की दहलीज पर कश्मीरी युवाओं के सपने बिखर कर रह गए। कश्मीर की वादियों से निकलकर खुले में टेंटों में जीवन कभी भी आसान नहीं था। कश्मीरी पंडितों के हौसले, संयम और घर वापसी की भावना ने इस्लामिक कट्टरपंथियों में घबराहट पैदा कर दी है तथा हाल ही में हुए शहीद अजय भारती और शहीद राकेश पंडित जैसे हमारे युवाओं की हत्या उनके इसी डर को दर्शाता है जिसका एकमात्र उद्देश्य पंडितों की घर वापसी को रोकना है। मुझे विश्वास है कि हमारे बुजुर्ग जो इन 31 सालों में पलायन के दौरान तथा उसके बाद गर्मी, सनस्ट्रोक, सांपों के काटने आदि के कारण हमें छोड़कर चले गए हैं, उनकी घर वापसी का सपना कभी व्यर्थ नहीं जाएगा और मैं आशा करता हूं कि इस सपने के पूरे होने तक इस लक्ष्य की लालसा को हम सब जीवित रखेंगे और एक दिन आएगा और जरूर आएगा जब कश्मीरी पंडित अपने घर कश्मीर वापस जा पाएंगे। उसी दिन मेरे बड़े पापा सर्वोच्च स्वर्ग में शांति से विश्राम कर पाएंगे। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सो मच सुहास। मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी कि आप हम सबको जो टीम में पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, अभी जो हमारे दर्शक हैं, हम सबको आप 1990 के उस दर्दनाक मंजर में वापस ले गए और आपने बहुत ही खूबसूरत तरीके से कश्मीरी हिंदुओं की पीड़ा और उनकी व्यथा को दर्शाया। बहुत ही खूबसूरत। और हाँ, एक वाक्य इन्होंने बोला कि यहाँ पे 30-31 साल रहने के बाद भी जो इनके स्वर्गीय दादाजी थे, उनको कभी भी वो मकान घर नहीं लगा। तो जाहिर सी बात है कि हम सब अपने घर जाना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि हमें ये चीज समझनी पड़ेगी कि मकान और घर में बहुत अंतर होता है। थैंक यू सो मच सुहास फॉर enlightening us. Thank you once again. I basically am having goosebumps after listening to Suhas's speech. Thank you so much, Suhas. Anyways, let's move forward. I'm really thankful to our youthful participants for having come out with such researched matter that they put forth before us for our further understanding and consideration. So let's move on to the next stage of today's event, wherein I will ask certain questions. Rather, I will want to have the viewpoints of our young squad, and I'm sure our viewers will literally be curious enough to know the viewpoints of these inquisitive minds as well as I do. So all the participants, you are kindly requested to listen and understand the question carefully. You will have 8 to 10 minutes at your disposal for the discussion. When I say discussion, I'm talking about the group discussion that you people will have amongst yourselves for another 8 to 10 minutes. I'll give you 10 to 20 seconds to think, and then probably you can come up with your viewpoints. So my first question is, what do you think led to the persecution and genocide of the minority community in the Valley of Kashmir in 90s and probably post 90s? I repeat my question. What, as per you, was the reason for the persecution and the ethnic cleansing, the genocide of the minority community in the Valley of Kashmir? 20 seconds to you to think about it, and another 8 to 10 minutes for discussing. Over to you, participants.
May I have the privilege to initiate?
Yes, Tanvi, you can come up.
Thank you so much. As I have been reading about this topic for quite a few days now, so to my knowledge, I suppose it was a motive of certain Islamic fundamentalists to spread Islam all over the globe. It all took shape during late 80s when the Wahhabist ideology came to India through these Islamic fundamentalists. If I talk about Ziaul Haq, the then president of Pakistan, and Benazir Bhutto, his daughter, they provoked and prompted some Islamists to free Kashmir. Then JKLF also demanded a separate state of Kashmir. And if I'm not wrong, to my knowledge, Jamaat-e-Islami Kashmir was one pro-Pak social organization which wanted to free Kashmir and merge it with Pakistan. Radicalization was at its peak during the late 80s, and there might have been some political reasons also, which probably led to the mass murder, genocide, barbarism, rapes, ethnic cleansing in and after 90s. Thank you.
Can I add on to this question? Am I audible?
Yes, Neil,
Yes,
please
Neil,
go
you can
ahead.
go on.
Thank you so much. So I completely agree what Pranvi has stated till now, and what I believe that we have been targeted so many times over these centuries because we are not of the ideology that we should always retaliate with guns and arms. We are of the ideology that pen is always mightier than sword. We have been a peace-loving community that earlier Karthik also stated that we have been a peace-loving community, and you can just see that our history is never of war, and we have never provoked or initiated a war. We have always been the soft targets of various invaders and various Islamists that their only motive was to fully eradicate the Kashmiri Pandits off the face of the earth for spreading Islam all over the subcontinent. And they were unsuccessful in it because we had the blessings of our gods and goddesses, and we had the blessings of our virtues that has led to this point that we have survived in the subcontinent. We are doing well, but there is some pain and agony that still lives with us, that we cannot return to our homeland, we cannot live in our native place, we cannot go back to Kashmir, which originally belonged to us. So that's what I believe.
Can I add on a point?
Yes, Upasana, please go on.
Yeah, so basic reason, I totally agree with Neil. And the main reason was actually that they wanted to dominate, they want to establish the dominance of their own community, and they threatened us, they raped women, they tortured us. The basic reason was they wanted to establish their religion forcefully, which is very wrong. और दूसरी बात ये थी कि ये बात सिर्फ 1930s की नहीं, उसके बहुत पहले से चली आ रही है। जब से अफगान आए हैं कश्मीर में, जब से मुस्लिम इन्वेडर्स आए हैं, तब से ये मतलब तब से ये चीज चली ही आ रही है।
Can I add on a point?
Yes.
Yes, please keep on adding your points. Please do that.
Okay. I also agree with Neil and Upasana Didi, and I want to say that because they wanted to make Muslim the wanted to make the best and the only religion in this world, and they want to dominate it forcefully and make it the dominating religion so that everyone has it. And they did it on Kashmir forcefully because they could enter into India easily through Kashmir. So they had to establish on Kashmir first to then conquer India. That's why they did this.
Can I say something?
Sure, please.
So I totally agree with three of them, because even I think that their sole motive was just to establish their rule over the valley, and that was the main reason कि वो सब कुछ हुआ जो पास्ट में इन सातों एक्सोडसेस में हुआ है. And I think कि सिर्फ according to me also the reason सिर्फ यही था कि जो वो उस टाइम पे माइनॉरिटी थे and the Hindus were majority कश्मीर वैली में, तो उन लोगों को सिर्फ अपना एक रूल पूरी वैली में फैलाना था, and they wanted कि जो हिंदूज मेजोरिटी में है वो माइनॉरिटी में आ जाए, और वो तो यही चाहते थे कि वो लोग रहे ही ना. So I think that's the reason.
Yes, and of course we were Shaivite Saraswat Brahmins, so we were peace loving. So that was the main reason why they attacked us, why they brutally tortured us.
I would like to add on a point that, of course, the sole motive was that they wanted to establish their religion all over the subcontinent, but also they wanted azadi, which was the false narrative that was set by Pakistan, and that was also the reason we are considered as a minority. And of course, all the reasons stated by everyone are, I totally agree with all of them.
Ma'am, can I say something?
Sure, Suhas, please.
मैम, इसका असली रीजन इस्लामिक कट्टरपंथी है. मैम, इसका असली रीजन इस्लामिक कट्टरपंथी है. वो चाहते थे हम कश्मीर में इस्लाम फैला दे. इसी के लिए उन्होंने एक तो हम मंदिर तोड़ डाले, इसी के लिए हम पंडितों को मार डाला, हत्या कर दी हमारी. तो हमें कश्मीर से निकाला नहीं गया था, हमें निकलना पड़ा था.
Adding on to all the points that the previous participants have stated, and I would like to relate the Kashmir situation with another example that happened in Sri Lanka. There were two ethnic communities, and this example is listed in the SST book of our class 10th. And I think the best example of majoritarianism should be of Kashmir instead of Sri Lanka's example. But relating to that, there were two ethnic communities. The Sinalas were in majority, and they wanted to impose majoritarianism on the Tamil speakers, but the Tamil speakers obviously were not agree with it. So they retaliated, and eventually it led to brutal killings and to a civil war, which resulted in very much killings on both the sides. But such situation didn't happen in Kashmir because we Kashmiri Pandits did not retaliate. Many, hot-headed people will think that we should have retaliated. We should have, used arms. We should have used guns against them. But if we would have done that, we might have stayed in the valley, but we would have lost our identity that is of learned people, the educated people, the peace-loving community. So that would have been a bigger compromise than staying out of our native land. So I think what our ancestors did at that time, leaving the valley instead of retaliating, was a better decision. And I think we all can agree that the future generation and we ourselves will work towards rehabilitation of Kashmiri Pandits, and we should work towards establishing peace and harmony again in the valley. That it was before the exoduses, it was before the atrocities, It was before all the invasions and many other things that happened in Kashmir.
I would like to say something. To what Neil said, I would like to. I disagree a bit. Like, we could have retaliated, but in a peaceful way, like doing protests and wars and mutinies were not only important for that to retaliate. So I think we could have done that, but
actually we were very less in number when we compare to Muslims, Kashmiri Muslims. We were very less in number.
That's why we were called a minority.
Yeah.
But
And
the-
also, if I'm not wrong, many activists, I may not be well versed with the names, but a name that I know, that a name that we all know that Karthik has shared with us, that is late Shri Tikla Tapluji. He was against all these agitations against the Kashmiri Pandits. He tried to retaliate. He united the Kashmiri Pandits, but because we were less in population, we were dominated by the Muslims and we were repressed. So that what led to the forceful eviction of Kashmiri Pandits.
Like
In 1990.
I want to share a story of my grandfather, मेरे नानू जी की. So he was a nationalist. He was a pure nationalist, and उस टाइम पे वो बहुत ज्यादा सपोर्ट करते थे इंडिया को एंड ऑल. तो उस टाइम पे एक रात को उनको लेटर आया था, कोई आई थिंक कोई बच्चा आई थिंक लेकर आया था लेटर. तो उसने उस लेटर में लिखा था कि आप ये सारे काम करने बंद कर दो. एज आई सेड दैट ही वाज अ नेशनलिस्ट. सो उसने लिखा था कि आप ये सारे काम करने बंद कर दो. हमें पता है आपके घर में बेटियां हैं और हमारे घर में हमारे पास मुस्लिम जोड़े उनके लिए रखे हुए हैं. दैट वाज द लाइन इन कश्मीरी. And that is the reason why all the Kashmiri Pandits fled away from their homeland, because they all were scared, and obviously we were all less in number, so how could we protest?
मैम मैं कुछ ऐड करना चाहूंगा.
बोलिए सुहास, बोलिए बेटा.
मैम उस वक्त हम बहुत कम थे जो हम लड़ नहीं सके, और जो सरकार थी वो मूक दर्शक बने रही.
Another incident that happened with my maternal grandfather, that is my nanu, that happened. He used to work in a Sibaka company, that toothpaste company that we all know, and there were hit lists going on in Srinagar because he was in Habakadal. Srinagar was a really populous area, and it was an epicenter of the agitations that were going against the Kashmiri Pandits Srinagar. So there were hit lists being printed in newspaper, local newspaper, being pasted on poles, and various banners were showcased all over the streets. So in that hit list, my nanu's name was there, and he could not, he didn't see the hit list, but our, the milkman of my nanu's house told them that terrorists were going to attack him. So my nanu was very, stressed, because they did not have a small family. They had a family of many members, approximately 10 to 15 members or more. I'm not sure exactly what the number is, but it was a large family. It was not easy to move such a large family in such a short time. And there were threatenings that because my nanu had women at home, he was more stressed, because we Kashmiri Pandits are very stressed about women folk. We respect our women. That's why we want to protect them. We respect their narratives, we respect their ideology. And my nanus was very stressed, and somehow he managed to transport all the family out of Kashmir into Jammu, and they were in a safe place now, safer than Kashmir. But my nanu returned to get some important documents which would be important for renting the house, for various government papers and other things. When he returned to his home, it was attacked, and there were a lot of I think it was attacked with fire, or the fire bombs or something like that. It was damaged. The building was damaged, and security officials were, it was a dense security. There was a dense security in Srinagar, in that area. So before my nanu was going into his house to get his important documents, a soldier stopped him and told him that there was some terrorist activities. So he advised him not to go in there. And when the security forces went in there, they saw that the terrorists were waiting for him to kill him, and bless the soldier that stop my Nanu, that he was saved at the time. And from that incident, we can, acknowledge and, know the intensity of the situation that was happening in Kashmir. We are not exaggerating the situation. We are not bragging about it. But if someone was present at that time, they would understand how serious and such intense situation it was.
Okay, ma'am, I would like to add a point.
Please go ahead, Karthik.
Ma'am, in the beginning, the Muslim and the Hindu population were in really in peace, and they lived together, and they had a mutual trust and everything. But ma'am, after some time, they were misled, and then they started thinking that they were being suppressed by Hindus, and they were being forced to stop existing, and then they started increasing their population to dominate them, because they thought they were gonna get attacked. But later on, they changed their view, and they started thinking that we should be the only dominating religion. That's why, remember, the beginning exodus were not their fault, but the later one are all their fault. And I also want to add a line that, ma'am, uh, nation does not build people, people build a nation. So ma'am, if we have to leave the whole Kashmir, it's not a problem. We can build a whole another Kashmir somewhere else.
Actually, the time period about which Karthik is saying, that time Sufism was widespread in Kashmir. So when the radical Islamist came into Kashmir Valley, then it became like more exaggerated, and they all tortured us. But yeah, instances are there that there was brotherhood some at some point of time, but uske
Before
pehle, yeah, before that, many Afghan rulers came, many Turks came. They also brutally tortured us. Always there was not unity.
Ma'am,
Dipti,
the
I
bitter
think we
truth
should
is
move to the next question. I think almost 8 minutes are covered.
okay. Let me just complete with the last point. Actually, the bitter truth is that if Kashmiri Muslims, were respect respected us and respected our culture, they wanted to side with us, they would have. And if they would have sided with us, none of the exoduses and the major incidents would have happened. And they are also part in the parcel in the uh, uh, you know events that happened against the Kashmiri Pandits, against our culture, against our narratives. So they are too at fault. They are not puppets. They have their own minds. They have their own brains that they should have used at that time and should have sided with us. They should have shown the virtue of brotherhood and evicted out the terrorists and all the Algawadis from the valley.
मैम
And we
मुझे
would
कुछ
have,
बोलना है.
Carry on, Neil, carry on.
okay, we would have still been in the valley if they would have sided with us, if they would have, fought with us against the terrorists, against the Algawadis, if they wouldn't have been caught by the fake narratives that the Pakistan spread in the Kashmir Valley by the Algawadis and all the influential families that are only spreading these narratives for their own benefit, for their economic benefit. So if they would have fought this war with us, then the future war would not have happened. 7 exoduses would not have happened. But Loot Day would not have happened, and such major events would not have happened, and we would still be living in peace and harmony in the valley.
Agree.
मैम मुझे कुछ बोलना है.
बोलिए सुहास, बोलिए.
मैम मैं कार्तिक भैया से सहमत नहीं हूँ. मैम हमें कश्मीर कश्मीर में ही चाहिए.
About what Neil said earlier about his grandfather, a very similar thing happened to my Nanaji as well. His name was in the hit list. And just thinking about how horrifying it must have been sent me shivers. And yes, I believe that they wanted a Muslim dominance in Kashmir. And it was a gradual process. ये अचानक से 90s में आके नहीं हुआ. From centuries, Hindus were being targeted, and which led to this migration eventually.
And ma'am, I would like to clarify something that Suhas, I did not say that we have to move there, we have to move somewhere else. But I was saying that if we really, really have to, we can. I'm not saying that we should leave Kashmir.
Like what Suhas was saying, I agree with him. Suhas जो कह रहा था कि हमें कश्मीर में ही रहना है, but you have to know that it is a gradual process. तब तक टाइम है अभी बहुत उस चीज को, तो क्यों ना हम अभी जहाँ रह रहे हैं वहाँ ही एक कश्मीर बना दे जब तक हम वहाँ पहुँच ना जाए. Basically that's my point.
And also
Can I done my point?
और also हम जब अगर हम नया कश्मीर बनाने का कोशिश करेंगे, it is possible that the youngsters, this generation might get satisfied, but if we try to, bring the elders, our ancestors to the same place, they might not be satisfied because they have seen the variation between the two.
I would like to add on the point.
Am I audible?
जैसे कि कहा जाता है कि घर का बेदी लंका डाए. So locals were also involved and were a threat to the dignity of women. So we didn't have any option but to leave.
रस्तों में they were carrying gun within themselves. रस्तों में वो लोग मतलब बंदूकें लेके घूम रहे थे, ऐसा मैंने सुना है. तो तब भी मतलब गूज बम्स आ जाते हैं ये सुन के, बट जिसने ये फेस किया होगा उसके साथ मतलब क्या क्या हुआ होगा.
Can I add on my point?
Please do that, Kamakshi. We have been waiting for your viewpoint. Please go ahead.
तो ये अभी का जैसे हमने एक्सोडस के बारे में बात की है, अभी का नहीं है. कि मतलब मैं अपनी मम्मा से जब बात करती हूँ वो मुझे बताते थे कि उनकी नानी उन्हें ये कहा करती थी कि ये उनके टाइम से, मतलब मुगल्स के टाइम से होते आ रहा है. और जहां तक मैंने भी एक दो बारी देखा है, मतलब मेरे पापा सिविल सेक्रेटरीट में हैं, तो वो 6 मंथ्स यहाँ रहते हैं और 6 मंथ्स वहां जॉब होती है उनकी ड्यूटी. तो बीच बीच में हम भी वहां जाते हैं. तो एक टाइम पे हम मुकदम सब एक वहां पर दरगाह है, हम वहां गए थे. तो वहां पे अचानक से बाहर इतने कुछ अटैक हुआ. तो हमारी दादी थी, उन्होंने कहा कि आप लोग अंदर आ जाओ. तो इतनी देर में सब बाहर सील हो गया. वो मैंने खुद देखा है. और आज भी जब हम कभी कश्मीर जाते हैं, मैं मम्मा पापा से कहती हूँ कि हम बाहर चल के देख सकते हैं. तो रात को तो पापा कहते, तो मम्मा भी कहती हैं कि मतलब उनके, मतलब मेरी मम्मा को वहां पर जॉब के 2 ऑफर्स मिले थे, मगर उन्होंने वहां के लिए अप्लाई नहीं किया था. तो मैंने उनसे एक दिन पूछा कि आपने अप्लाई क्यों नहीं किया. तो वो कहते थे कि मतलब जो उनका फर्स्ट वो पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू था, उन्होंने कहा कि हमारे लिए वहां पर बिल्कुल सेफ नहीं है. बहुत उन्होंने उनके फ्रेंड सर्कल में बहुत लोगों के साथ हुआ. तो उन्होंने कहा कि पापा चाहते थे कि मम्मा वहां पर जॉब ना करें, बिकॉज वो वहां पर कश्मीरी पंडित वुमेन के लिए तो बिल्कुल एक कश्मीरी पंडित लेडी के लिए बिल्कुल सेफ नहीं था.
Yeah, I also want
Kamakshi,
to
are you
add,
through? Yes, Upasna, please carry on.
just one more point. मैं अभी इंडियन क्लासिकल म्यूजिक सीख रही हूँ, तो उसमें थ्योरीज हमें पढ़नी होती है. तो बेसिकली उसमें एक कश्मीरी पंडित के बारे में लिखा था, शारंग देव. उन्होंने काफी सारे राग इन्वेंट किए हैं. इनफैक्ट उन्होंने काफी सारे राग इन्वेंट किए थे. तो एक्चुअली वो रहते थे साउथ इंडिया में. उन्होंने साउथ इंडिया से बैठ के सारे राग इन्वेंट किए, बट एक्चुअली दे वर हिज एंसेस्टर्स वर फ्रॉम कश्मीर एंड ही वाज अ कश्मीरी पंडित. सो उस टाइम पे भी मैंने थ्योरी में पढ़ा था कि जब नरसंहार हुआ था तो उस समय शारंग देव के एंसेस्टर्स को आना पड़ा था. एंड इट इज द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ अराउंड 1207. तो उस टाइम से ये चला आ रहा है, ये आज की बात नहीं है.
All right. Thank you so much, all the participants. I would say that it was a wonderful discussion. If I quickly give you a brief that what all of them said, although all of them hasn't pointed out the same thing in one or the other way. They said that it was basically the Islamic fundamentalists from the very outset. They wanted to establish Islam. They wanted to establish Islam in the Indian subcontinent. And that was the main reason probably which led to the exodus, which led to what happened in 1990s. And then there was one incident which Neil talked about. He talked about the Nalas and Tamilians, and he said that these two ethnic communities of Sri Lanka, there was something similar which happened there. And if I'm not wrong, Black July, there's one occasion marked as Black July. But yes, Tamilians retaliated, and the Kashmiri Pandits did not retaliate, as Neil very prominently and particularly emphasized on this point, that we were and we are a peace-loving community. We are learned people, and as he said that we always believe in pen is mightier than the sword. And maybe that was one of the reasons. And another reasons very well pointed out by Upasna, that because we were very less in number. We were the minority community. And then Pranvi also pointed out something. She said, when it comes to the dignity of the women, when it comes to the respect of the women, then probably we were not left with any option, but then we had to flee from that place, right? So thank you so much once again, participants, for a wonderful discussion. Now I'll have to take note of the time also, but quickly I'll come up with a second question. The second question says, what do you feel is the best way forward for the successful and safe return and rehabilitation of the Kashmiri Pandits to the Valley of Kashmir? I repeat, what do you feel is the best action plan that should be devised for the safe and secure return of Kashmiri Pandits to the valley? And quickly, I'll add on one more probably as a question to it, that all of you know about the abrogation of Article 370 and Article 35A. So what do you feel that how the removal of these two articles have been beneficial to the people of Kashmir in general and Kashmiri Pandits in particular? You can note down the questions. The second question is, after the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, what do you people feel that how it has benefited the people of Kashmir in general and Kashmiri Pandits in particular? So you please go ahead, taking note of time. I'm giving you another 8 to 10 minutes, and we'll try to as in wind up within time, right? Thank you so much. Over to you, participants.
Can I initiate?
Please go ahead.
Okay, the first question that you asked, ma'am, is that how Kashmiri Pandits can return to the valley, rehabilitate in a safe way. So I believe the process has started, but it has started to such an extent that we have taken a half a step in 1 lakh steps. So it's not something that has happened. And that half step is the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A. Although they played a major role, they were amendments that were used by the Algawadi's and the fake narrative parties to dominate over the Kashmiri Hindus, to establish a Sharia state in Kashmir, to boast about the Islamic narratives in the Kashmir in a secular nation and in the so-called secular state. So these were the amendments that were used by these politicians for their own benefit and to spread Islam in the valley. And abrogation of these articles have benefit the Indian citizens. People who were not born in Kashmir have now the right to own land in Kashmir. So that's something new. And this abrogation has not necessarily benefited Kashmiri Pandits in a major way. But as I stated before, that it is a half a step in many other steps that have to be taken for the rehabilitation of Kashmiri Pandits. And the three major steps that, if will be taken, can lead to a safe return of Kashmiri Pandits is that the first point is that terrorism should be removed. And we all know that whenever we think of terrorism in India, it is very unfortunate that Kashmir comes to our mind. Whenever in class we discuss about, in our school classes, in our college classes, even in friend group discussion, whenever we talk about terrorism, the first place that comes to our mind is Kashmir. And that is very unfortunate that has happened, that the paradise of the world, the paradise of India has to be thought as a terrorist state. So that's unfortunate. And terrorism should be removed as quickly as possible. The Indian Defense Forces, the Indian Union government, and all the other people involved in this process are moving quickly towards it. We are seeing many encounters of terrorists. We are seeing capture of terrorists. We are capturing of ammunitions, capturing of bombs, various equipments. Such steps are helping in removing the terrorism from Kashmir. And what I believe, that Kashmir's terrorism comes from within and from outside. We have seen many cases that the Kashmiri Muslim, the youngsters, were targeted by these fake narrative people. They were, they were given the fake promises. If you, practice jihad, if you kill these Kashmiri Hindus, if you side with various terrorist organizations, then you will go to heaven. And these youngsters, were very, attracted by these narratives, although they were fake. And we all know that youngsters, have that hot blood, hot-headed minds, and they don't think rationally about that. They just, rush into things. And that's something that was exploited by these politicians for their own benefits. And outside terrorism that comes inside, that the infiltration in Kashmir is from Pakistan mainly. Pakistan supports the terrorist bases of various terrorist organizations like Mujahideen, Al Qaeda, and many other terrorist organizations. They have their bases in POK and Azad Kashmir. Although POK and Azad Kashmir are thought to be, or so-called to be, the independent states where Kashmiri Muslims, the citizens of Kashmir, have their independence, they are free. And that fake narratives is just a fake narrative that is in front of the world media, in front of the world. We all know the truth, that it is just, a curtain, and behind the curtain, there are terrorists that live in that area. There are terrorist bases and boot camps that are constructed there. And although satellite imagery does not show these terrorist bases, but we have seen in many movies like Uri, and we have seen in news that there are so many terrorist bases. It's not that in only a one place there is a terrorist base, and only one terrorist base is there in that area. Many terrorist bases are there, and that's why infiltration in Kashmir has been successful in over these years. And I think taking back this land is declaring war on Azad Kashmir and POK. That's something we don't want to do. We have to do something, some things have to be done diplomatically, some things have to be done by using the military. We have to, this is a gradual process. We should not rush into it by declaring war. That will only, result into consequences on both the sides. It doesn't matter if consequences are more on their side or more on our side, but it will result into consequences, and that's something we don't want. And we should take that land back, because it is the epicenter of terrorism infiltration, and that land is also a right. There are many temples, there are many places that have been, desecrated, that have been destroyed, and that land belongs to Indian citizens. That land belongs to Kashmiri Hindus. Those structures, those temples belongs to our community. Now, the second point, I would like to rush it in because I think I'm exceeding the time limit. So the second point is that we need the cooperation of the citizens in Kashmir. We need the cooperation of Kashmiri Muslims. We need their cooperation. It's not something that we have to beg for. We do not have to be at their mercy, but it's better to be in a peaceful state rather to be in a tensions between these communities. We need their cooperation. And the third point is that there should be development in the valley. The valley is, very, very much dependent on, apple orchards, agriculture. Like other state, agriculture is a main occupation in India, but tourism, that's something, unstable. Tourism rises in some seasonal time, and it goes below in some times. And we can see the example in COVID-19 pandemic, that tourism went down to such an extent that Kashmir was totally dependent on union funds and government grants. So that's something that should not happen. They should develop Kashmir in such a way that it does not harm the nature and the beautiful valley that our ancestors, that our parents boast about. The cold breeze, the cold morning breeze, having kava in the morning with that cold breeze, that beautiful views of mountains, that should not be destroyed. But yeah, we need a development because we are living in a modern society. We are living in a secular democratic nation, and we need to develop that area. And if these points, if only these points are, you know, achieved by the government, achieved by all the people involved in this process, then I think 95 to 99% of the work is done. Then we can think about moving back into the valley.
I would like
want
to add on and put forth my viewpoint. According to me, the most important prerequisite of return to Kashmir is security. First of all, a safe and secure environment should be established there so that we can go back without any kind of hesitation, avoiding any chance of an exodus again. Secondly, job opportunities must be provided, which will not only help in making our lives easier, but will also contribute in the development of the place. Earlier, it used to happen, as I have heard, that Kashmiri Pandits were scattered across the valley. For example, if an entire city or a village had 500 families, out of that, 450 families made the majority community, and the rest 50 families were of Kashmiri Pandits. That means Kashmiri Pandits were not concentrated at a particular place. Now, when we go back, the concentrated settlements or a particular township must be provided for our safe and secure survival. And if I talk about the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, after the abrogation of 370 and 35A, Jammu and Kashmir has equaled the mainstream India, which is a big achievement. Big MNCs and industries will get established there, thus generating employment and lucrative jobs for the youth. That's it. Thank you.
Ma'am, I would like
I want to add on.
I would like to ma'am, I would like to say
Go
ma'am,
ahead, beta.
I agree with them both. And ma'am, I would like to say that ma'am, as Neil said, that removal of 370 and 35A ma'am, helped a lot, and it was just one of the steps that it will take to for the rehabilitation of us Kashmiri Hindus. And ma'am, would also like to say that ma'am, because of the removal of 370, ma'am, more Kashmir was a more acceptable place by other states, ma'am, because other states were a little angry and a little upset because Kashmir was getting some extra. It was looking like Kashmir had a little bit of extra rights, and it had an advantage over the other states, ma'am. But it was nothing like that, and ma'am, it will help us be more acceptable. And after 335A, ma'am, many families had not did not have any rights over their properties that were passed down because just because their mothers or grandmothers had married had a intercaste marriage. That was removed, so that was really good. And ma'am, I would like to say, like both, ma'am, the government should provide a lot safety. So, ma'am, we are not in fear that someday they can attack us. Hit list will come out, or we will have to move away. Nothing like a exodus can happen, and also development should happen. And yeah.
Okay, so I want to add on a point. The main reason why Kashmiri Pandits fled from Kashmir Valley is terrorism. Was terrorism and is terrorism today also. And it is observed that after the abrogation of Article 370, from past 1 year, it has been observed that terrorism is a kind of reduced in Kashmir Valley. And I think कि गवर्नमेंट को क्या बेसिकली करना चाहिए कि एक तो हमें टाउनशिप का तो पता नहीं, बट एक प्रॉपर सिक्योरिटी हमें मिले ताकि हमें वापस ना वहां से आना पड़े कि लाइक आई लुक एट द मैप ऑफ माय विलेज बुगाम. It is a barren land, all the houses are burned there. It is a literally it is a barren land. So वो देखकर दुख होता है कि क्या हुआ है उधर, उस जगह पे क्या हुआ है. और बेसिकली एक तरीके से आई थिंक कि हमें जस्टिस मिलना चाहिए और उसके लिए वो केसेस वापस खुलवाने चाहिए और जिन्होंने हमारे साथ ये किया है उनको सजा भी मिलनी चाहिए बिकॉज उन्होंने जो किया है वो माफ करने लायक नहीं है. और प्लस हमें सिक्योरिटी मिलनी चाहिए एंड या एक तो ये भी था कि प्रॉपर्टी यहाँ के लोग नहीं ले सकते। जब आर्टिकल 370 था तो उसके पहले यहाँ के लोग प्रॉपर्टी नहीं ले सकते थे। सो एक ये भी चीज होगी कि अगर यहाँ से लोग प्रॉपर्टी कश्मीर में लेना शुरू हो गए, मतलब लाइक इट इज अ ग्रेजुअल प्रोसेस, ऑफ कोर्स बहुत टाइम लगेगा उस चीज में, बट अगर यहाँ से लोग प्रॉपर्टी लेना शुरू हो गए तो देयर विल बी अ चेंज इन पॉपुलेशन, like there would be a change in Muslim majority. So I think it will be more prone place कि हम वहाँ पे जा पाए, it will be more safer कि हम वहाँ पे जा पाएंगे। और like yeah, it is a gradual process, time लगेगा, but yes article 370 directly तो नहीं but indirectly काफी help करता है, एक तरीके से एक support प्ले करता है इसका abolition। तो मेरे हिसाब से तो आर्टिकल 370 हटाना अच्छी बात थी। प्लस हमें सिक्योरिटी मिलनी चाहिए क्योंकि हम नहीं चाहते कि दोबारा हमारे साथ 8वां एग्जॉडस ना हो, इसलिए हमें सिक्योरिटी मिलनी चाहिए। एंड या दैट्स अ ग्रेजुअल प्रोसेस, दैट्स ओनली।
Can I add on something? So जैसे कि इन्होंने पहले स्टेट कर दिया कि yes we need a sense of security because वो सबसे important चीज है जो इस टाइम पे कश्मीरी पंडित को चाहिए, because we know अगर अभी भी इस टाइम पे हम लोग वापस जाते हैं, we all know that we are not secure and हम सबको पता है कि कुछ साल पहले गवर्नमेंट ने हम लोगों को ये बोला था कि आप लोग जाओ और आपको एक लोकेलिटी दी जाएगी, आपको रहने की जगह देंगे और आपको एक प्रोटेक्शन दी जाएगी। बट आई पर्सनली और आई नो कोई भी कश्मीरी पंडित एक ऐसी जगह पे नहीं रहना चाहता क्योंकि आई डोंट थिंक कि वो एक जस्टिस है। वो अकॉर्डिंग टू मी वो एक एहसान है जिसको जस्टिस का नाम दे दिया गया कि यू गो बैक, आपको लोकेलिटी दी जाएगी, आपको प्रोटेक्शन दी जाएगी। सो अकॉर्डिंग टू मी वो कोई रीजनेबल जस्टिस नहीं है। एंड सेकेंडली आई थिंक कि अगर गवर्नमेंट सच में कुछ करना चाहती है फॉर द कश्मीरी पंडित्स तो अब उन लोगों को फेक प्रोमिस करने बंद कर देने चाहिए और उन्हें एक्शन लेना स्टार्ट करना चाहिए। So I think कि अगर first step government का ये होना चाहिए that they should talk to us, they should talk to us about what we really want, what we actually feel, and I think कि इस टाइम पे हमारी कश्मीरी पंडित कम्युनिटी में बहुत सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं and they are doing an amazing work. We all know कि वो जो भी काम कर रहे हैं बहुत अच्छा कर रहे हैं and जो भी उनका गोल है, जो भी उनका ऑब्जेक्टिव है जिसके लिए वो काम कर रहे हैं, they are doing amazing for it. But I think that अगर वही ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस they come together and they start working together, I think कि जो काम अभी इस लेवल पे है, I guess वो काम इस लेवल पे जा सकता है। So I think पहली चीज ये भी है कि वो लोग साथ आए so that वो एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बन के गवर्नमेंट से बात कर सके कि ये चीजें हैं जो हम चाहते हैं। And thirdly I think कि जब तक we are not getting the justice we want, I think that हम लोगों को सबको पता है कि ऐसे बहुत लोग हैं अभी भी जिनको पता ही नहीं है कि 90s में कुछ हुआ था, 90s से पहले भी कुछ हुआ था। तो आई थिंक कि हम लोग अपने आसपास के लोगों को तो अवेयर कर ही सकते हैं कि क्या हुआ था और क्या नहीं हुआ था। हम उनको वो फैक्ट स्टेट कर सकते हैं कि एक्चुअली व्हाट वी हैव गॉन थ्रू, क्या टॉर्चर हमारे साथ हुआ है। लाइक अगर हम लोग 13 जुलाई की बात कर लें, सब लोग उसको मार्टियर्स डे बोलते हैं क्योंकि सब कश्मीरी मुस्लिम्स ने ये बोलते हैं कि हमारे साथ टॉर्चर हुआ, हमें मार दिया गया। बट डू दे नो कि कश्मीरी पंडित्स के साथ क्या हुआ, क्या टॉर्चर उन्होंने सहा है, क्या असॉल्ट उनके साथ हुआ है। सो वी शुड स्टार्ट टेकिंग दिस इनिशिएटिव जैसे कि आज लिया गया है और हम लोग सबको बता रहे हैं कि एक्चुअली क्या हुआ था हमारे साथ। एंड नाउ इफ आई टॉक अबाउट 370, तो आई डोंट थिंक कि कुछ डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट कश्मीरी पंडित्स पे हुआ है। हाँ, कश्मीर पे हुआ है, जो एक डेवलपमेंट में एक बैरियर था वो 370 और 35A से हट गया है। बट अगर मैं कश्मीरी पंडित्स की बात करूं तो जो इश्यूज पहले थे वो अभी भी है। ये जरूर है कि एक लाइट ऑफ होप आया था सबके अंदर कि जो एक आर्टिकल जो 70 साल से हटाना चाह रहे थे वो नहीं हट रहा था, फाइनली हट गया। तो वी रियली थॉट कि अगर ये चीज जो नहीं हट रही थी अब जाके हट गई है तो अब जो जस्टिस जो इश्यूज हमारे हैं वो भी सॉल्व हो सकते हैं। थैंक यू।
Ma'am, I would like to add a point. Ma'am, I would like to say that, ma'am, like Neil said, it is a gradual process, and ma'am, ma'am, and also, ma'am, there are stories that, ma'am, many neighbor of some Kashmiri Hindus, Muslim neighbors, ma'am, they were saying that you should go away, you will stay safe, and ma'am, if they return someday, ma'am, they will find that their old houses, ma'am, some old houses were not burned; they were just taken over by Muslims. And ma'am, Upasna Didi said that the whole village was burned down And but slowly, if 10, 15, 20 years later, if you look back at the map, you will see that many Muslim have taken over that land, have built their home, and when government will come to tell them to leave, they will say no, this is our place, ma'am, because they will also make the by then. So my main point is that we should not wait. It is a gradual process, but we should not wait that long that they have already taken over and we want our land back.
Ma'am, can I share my viewpoint?
Very good point, Karthik. Yes, any other participant who wants to add
Ma'am,
something?
can I share my viewpoint?
Ma'am.
Sure, Suhas, बोलिए please.
मैम जो हमारा पहला आपने हमसे 2 क्वेश्चन पूछे थे। जो मैम पहला क्वेश्चन था कश्मीरी पंडितों को वापस ले जाने के लिए कौन से स्टेप, उसके लिए मैम मेरे पास 4 स्टेप है। जो मैम पहला स्टेप है, हमें अपने घर कश्मीर जाना ही जाना है, चाहे सरकार कुछ करे या ना करे। मैम जो हमारा दूसरा स्टेप है, सरकार को हमारे जाने की पूरी व्यवस्था करनी चाहिए, जिसमें वहां रहने का प्रबंध, सुरक्षा का इंतजाम, रोजगार की गारंटी। मैम तीसरा स्टेप, हमारे साथ इस तरह से फिर किसी प्रकार का जुल्म ना हो। मैम चौथा स्टेप, वहां जाने से पहले उचित मुआवजा। और मैम जो हमारा दूसरा क्वेश्चन था 370 और 35 हटने से क्या हमें फायदा हुआ कश्मीरी पंडितों को या नुकसान? तो मैम इसके हटने से कश्मीर भारत के साथ पूर्व रूप से मिल गया। अब जम्मू और कश्मीर का अलग कानून झंडा अलग नहीं होगा। अब भारत के सारे कानून जम्मू और कश्मीर में लागू होंगे, जिससे कश्मीरी पंडितों के हितों की रक्षा होगी। और चौथा पॉइंट, भारत के लोग जम्मू और कश्मीर में भी रह सकते हैं और रोजगार तलाश कर सकते हैं। जम्मू और कश्मीर में भारत के अन्य जगह सके तहत विकास होगा।
I absolutely agree with everything everyone has said, Abhitak. And I feel like, according to me, there are 2 things that need to be done for the rehabilitations of our Kashmiri Pandits. One of them is important, and the other one is very important. The important one is development, especially in the field of education and healthcare. And the very important one is security. क्योंकि unless and until वहाँ security नहीं होगी, वहाँ हम जा ही नहीं सकते. And about 370, I feel like it's a win-win for everyone, क्योंकि वहाँ पे MNCs और companies establish होंगे and hopefully वहाँ काफी development होगा and Kashmir economically काफी flourish करेगा.
Ma'am, can I add something?
Ma'am, may I?
Neil, go ahead. Then we'll move on. Yeah.
Okay, there are some things that that should not happen in that modern technology-driven world. We all know that if something happens in the far corner of United States of America, in the far corners of Papua New Guinea or other countries, we all know that through Google, through various web browsers, through news channels and etc. All is there available. It's just a Google search away. You can search about anything through Google, but Google is not always right. That's something that is the universal fact. Google just shows what people have written on the internet. It is not the universal truth. It is not the right perspective. It may be the wrong perspective. So something that is very painful is that people of foreign countries and people even inside India don't know about what happened with Kashmiri Pandits. And something that is even more painful is that they think that we were responsible for our eviction. We attacked the Kashmiri Muslims. We threatened Islam. That's why we were evicted. And that is, complete opposite of what happened. And it's really unfortunate that people know the wrong thing. They know a lie. And I was watching an interview of, I don't remember the news channel, but it was a world broadcasting channel. And they were interviewing people of, Europe. And they were asking about what they think about India, what they think about Hindus, because Hindus are mainly in Nepal and India. So they were thinking, what do they think about Hindus? So there was a false narrative that was spread amongst all the countries that Hindus, depict majoritarianism on Muslims, and people are not well versed with the amendments and the laws that we have in the constitution that make us the biggest democracy in the world. there are so many professions that don't allow us to depict majoritarianism, and I don't think our community doesn't want to do that. It doesn't want to do, it doesn't want to impose majoritarianism on the minorities. It wants to live in a peace and harmony, but it wants, to oppose what is the wrong things that are happening against our community. So that we are only, exercising our rights. We are not, exploiting other people's right. We are not, disrespecting them. We are respecting all the other faiths, but respecting our rights, fighting for them is not disrespecting other faiths. And people know about, some people know about Kashmiri Pandits, but they think that they deserve to get off the valley, and they think that happened because Kashmiri Muslims were under, a tyranny of Maharaja Hari Singh. People think that Maharaja Hari Singh was, trying to completely destroy the Muslim community instead. But what was actually happening, that he was establishing democracy in a pre-monarchical state. It was because times were changing. India was going through many changes. India had become a sovereign democratic nation. So he wanted to bring Kashmir into that, but people who did not benefit from that, people who didn't want that, the pro-Islamists, the Islam people with the pro-Islam narrative did not want that. That's why, they opposed him. That's why it led to 13th July, the Batlut Day. That's why it has led to the 6th and the 7th Exodus. And I think people believe that the 7th Exodus has already happened, but the reality is we are still in it. We have not completed the 7th Exodus. The 7th Exodus will be completed when we return back to our valley. And this, I think, if I'm not wrong, this is the longest Exodus that is happening. 32nd year of Exodus in pro-democratic times. We can have accepted before democracy. We could have accepted the first and the second Exodus during the foreign invaders. Although it was wrong, it was, inhumane, it was barbarian in nature. We should not have supported it, but we could have expected that from foreign invaders. We could have expected that from the foreigners, but we don't expect that from our own nation. We don't expect that in a pro-democracy. So that's something that is very, controversial about this situation, that before democracy, before independence, all this happened. And even after independence, it happened on a larger scale, which has eventually led to the eviction of Kashmiri Pandits. And I believe that someday, I don't know, it will happen in 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, 30 years, or even we will reach a golden jubilee or silver jubilee. I don't hope that happens. We have already reached a silver jubilee. I don't hope that that we reach a golden jubilee or we reach 100 years, a century of that. I don't hope so. But whenever it happens, it will happen. If it takes 50 years, 100 years, or more than that. And I think our future generations, and it is our duty to, pass on that flame, that pass on that torch to our next generation. And what, how Suhas was speaking today, I think we all know that we got goosebumps from his speech. And I think when we listen to Suhas, we, get that ray of hope, that flame, that torch that was lit by our ancestors during the exoduses, the past exoduses, has not been extinguished. It will, remain to burn forever until we return to Kashmir in a peaceful manner, into a safe manner. And I think we should all work for that. We have many organizations like Jammu Kashmir Vichar, Roots in Kashmir, and innumerable organizations that working towards that narrative, working towards that objective. But these all organizations are backed by, the old people, the ancestors that, that know the reality of Kashmir, and they have done a commendable job passing on the torch to the youngsters. And it is now our duties. We have reached that time that we youngsters have to carry this torch onto the future generation and lead to the rehabilitation of Kashmiri Pandits. And we have fundamental duties in our constitution. I think this is a fundamental duty of our Kashmiri Pandits that we need to fulfill as soon as possible.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I just want to say that there is no
quickly, Upasna, quickly, and then probably Himanshi also wants to say something.
Ma'am, I also want to
last,
say
yeah,
just one
Vidushi,
point.
quickly, yeah, Upasna, please.
Okay, so the problem is not in secularism. We all believe in I think I believe in secularism, but the main problem is believing in pseudo secularism. कि सेक्युलरिज्म की आड़ में आप लिंग्विस्टिक शोविनिज्म को सपोर्ट कर रहे हो। आई मीन एक रिलीजन को आप कह रहे हो कि अब अगर आप दूसरे रिलीजन के साथ गलत करोगे तो फिर आप सही हो क्योंकि आप माइनॉरिटी में हो। सो दैट इज कॉल्ड लिंग्विस्टिक शोविनिज्म. So the problem is pseudo secularism in this country. So we should not support pseudo secularism. That's the main point. और ये जो हुआ है ये pseudo secularism की वजह से हुआ है। आज भी अगर हम कहीं बोलते हैं कि हाँ जी ये radical Islam की वजह से हुआ है, तो बहुत सारे बोलने वाले लोग हैं कि आप तो सेकुलरिज्म को मानते नहीं हो, आप इस्लाम को नीचा दिखा रहे हो। हम इस्लाम को नीचा नहीं दिखा रहे हैं, जिन्होंने ये किया है उनको नीचा दिखा रहे हैं, जिन्होंने ये किया है उनको गलत ठहरा रहे हैं। सो दैट इज नॉट एट ऑल रिलेटेड विद सेकुलरिज्म. दैट्स ओनली माय पॉइंट.
Quick last point by Vidushi.
Some points I would like to say is that first of all जो जितनी सारी हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं उन सबको एक साथ आके अगर सेम उस अपने मोटिव की तरह काम करेंगे, आई थिंक दैट वुड बी द only way we would be ever be able to achieve what we want. The second point is that if we want, the government should first of all remove terrorism, security, development of healthcare centers, all the points that I've earlier mentioned. And I would also like to say that we should make people aware, not only the people around us, but globally we should make people aware that what actually happened to us late back then. And for that 370, Article 370, I would like to say that we not only got the citizenship and ownership to the land, but we also got our rights back, which were not provided to us when we had the rules that were particularly for Jammu and Kashmir. So I think it is a really good thing that the article has been, the aggregation of the article has been done. So I think like this was the main point.
Perfect. So with this, we'll wind up with our second discussion. First of all, I would say a big round of applause for all the participants. I personally feel that I have learned a lot today. I have really learned a lot today from all of you. If I just go 10 minutes back, and if I probably sum up what all of you said, so Himanshi very crisply came up with all the points which probably rest of you as in shed light on, and that was the development in Kashmir, that was the development in the fields of education, health care specifically, and the very important point which Himanshi emphasized upon was the security, which probably most of the participants as in agreed with, right? Apart from that, I would like to mention what Shreya Wali said, and when she was speaking it seemed as if her heart is, she's speaking her heart out, right? So let me come up with those points. She said that we need the justice, which Upasna also talked about. She said justice is something which we need, which we probably demand for, and the punishment of the culprits is something which we demand for as the youth, as the Kashmiri Pandits. And Shreya said that हम पे एहसान नहीं करेंगे कि अगर हमें घर वापस भेजेंगे. And she very rightly said, now fake promises, everything, or probably whatever has been done for the good of Kashmir, for the good of Kashmiri Pandits, but now this is the time for the real action. So something substantial should be done for the safe and the secure return of the Kashmiri Pandits to the valley. Very well said, Shreya Wali. Then I'll come to Kartik Ban. Kartik Ban was a little apprehensive. Why he was a little apprehensive? Because he said, as most of us are saying, it's a gradual process. It will probably take some time, which is true also because these things don't happen overnight. But he was apprehensive about the fact that if it takes more and more time, maybe the majority community over there takes over each and every property of ours and build their homes over there, and then probably they say that this is our land, this is our property, and then probably nothing probably could be done at the end. So this is the right time, because after the abrogation of Article 370 and Article 35A, as Neil very rightly said, this was the first step, or probably this was the 1/2 step in the 1000th step. But Neil, let me tell you, as it is said, that well begun is half done. So definitely, yes, we are of the hope that something good is going to happen. Something good is in store for the Kashmiri Pandits now. And I will also like to emphasize what Neil said, that nowadays we rely on Google, and we are very thankful to Google that yes, we get tons of knowledge from there. We get tons of information, rather, I would say, but then Google may not be always right. As very well pointed out by most of the participants, that Martyrs' Day, 13th July 1931, which is known to be the Martyrs' Day, is actually not the Martyrs' Day. Why? Because the agitators, the protesters who were responsible for breaking into the jail in Srinagar on that fateful day, they cannot be called the martyrs. Instead, the people, the soft targets, the Kashmiri Brahmins, the Kashmiri Hindus, who were subjected to torture, who were subjected to barbarism, whose women were subjected to rapes and molestations, they are the actual victims. And this is the narrative, this is the right narrative, this is the actual narrative, this is the apt narrative that should go out to the world. And I'm really very happy that our youngsters, our youth, is appealing to the government to come up with something concrete, something substantial for the safe rehabilitation of the Kashmiri Pandits in the valley. With this, once again, I'm thankful to the quick-witted minds, and I'm sure that their inquisitiveness, their understanding of the topics, their understanding of being the true nationals is laudable. And I can foresee a bright future of our country in the garb of these young intellectual minds. I wish you all the participants I'm talking about, I wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. Now, we have come to the last part of today's show. And from all these discussions, we have gathered that the terror industry in Jammu and Kashmir is well funded in terms of men and material. And both internal and external agents have fed it to a point where it has become an ugly, poisonous serpent, biting everything dead in its way. But as it is said, that every dark cloud has a silver lining. So the million-dollar question, the much vexed question is, what is the way forward? So as our participants already mentioned, let's start taking initiatives to prepare the ground to pursue the policy of late Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, Insaniyat, Jamhuriyat, or Kashmiriyat. In fact, our Prime Minister Modi ji, from the rampart of Lal Killa, said that the problem of Kashmir can only be solved by embracing the people of Kashmir, which our young minds also emphasized upon just now. And yes, with the abrogation of the Articles 370 and 35A, which violated the concept of equality and treated J&K as second-class citizens. With the successful completion of the District Development Council elections, which has paved the way to return power to people, while as with removing the Articles 370 and 35A, J&K has been brought literally into the national mainstream, as was depicted by one of the participants as well. Remembering a graffiti on the wall of a security banker in a village in Kashmir, which read, "We are here to win the hearts and minds of Kashmiris." Yes, the time has come to give it a practical shape and to rebuild the mutual trust between the communities, which was lost 3 decades ago and even much before that. The initiative has been taken to see to it that peace and harmony returns to the valley so that we, Kashmiri Pandits, once again move back with dignity to nurture ourselves in the lap of our motherland. With this, I'll wind up with today's show. Thank you so much, all our participants. A big thanks to our team of Jammu Kashmir Vichar Manch, who worked effortlessly to make today's event a grand success. And the most importantly, I extend my warm and sincere thanks to the viewers for always being there, pouring their love and blessings. We'll try to catch up soon again with some other discussions on some other topics. Till then, stay happy, stay blessed, stay safe. Thank you so much. Namaskar.